Good evening, Mr. Raju. Thank you very much for taking time off. It's my pleasure and privilege to have known you now for several years and to have known the kinds of things that you as a human being, as a manager, as an entrepreneur have been up to in this country, making us all proud in more ways than one. Coming in, we spent a few minutes talking about what I should be engaging him with. And we agreed on three broad themes. If you look at today's NASSCOM Foundation track and the general set of discussions, we've been concerned with technology and the ability to leverage technology in the broader area of inclusive growth, poverty alleviation, rural outreach. One of the fascinating things of the work done at Satyam Foundation by Raju Foundation, the works that Mr. Raju has taken great leadership and involvement, is frankly not about technology. It is about what I call managerial disciplines, which we typically in the IT industry, whenever we do an RFP response, from the beginning to specifications to bug testing to acceptance testing and finally integrated testing. We have a kind of a discipline the way we do. And that magic of that discipline, Mr. Raju, I've noticed that in many of your programs you have brought to the social sector. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Our involvement in the corporate social responsibility initiative in fact began on an emotional note. In 2001, I lost my father, and myself and my brothers came together and we said that we need to do something in his memory. So on the day when we performed the 11th day rituals, we have also established this foundation called the Foundation in our family name. And since we came from a rural background, we felt that we need to do something in the rural areas. So it was not a choice arising out of intellectual deliberations, but it was more on account of a certain emotional appeal it had for us. But as we got involved at that time, the initial thoughts were that what we are going to do is going to do more about setting aside certain funds so that we can bring about some influence. But as we established centers in 50 villages to start with, now there are close to about 185 villages that we have adopted. We have started very quickly recognizing that funding is a necessary condition but not a sufficient condition. We also have come to a conclusion that it is not even the number 2 or number 3 consideration. It is at best number 5th consideration. We say that it is about leadership, it is about applying knowledge, applying technology, making things happen, and incidentally, you have to also make sure that you are funding the activities adequately. I would agree with you that the differentiation arose on account of the fact that we have essentially adopted practices that we are so used to adopting in our business environments to social causes. And we have also come to recognize that the reason why governmental programs fail is not because there is not enough funding, but because the delivery mechanisms have failed. Therefore, as you have stated, business practices being applied for social causes.
In a typical village, how many delivery processes do you look at?
We have taken an approach which is similar to what we do in Satyam. Just to give you a background, in Satyam we have close to about 2,000 what we call businesses. There are about 500 or so that we categorize as support businesses. Support businesses are a typical HR, you may have 30 of them, performance management, recruitment, so on and so forth. And you have many service offerings. We have 250 service offerings, competencies that are used to service the customers. So these we classify as asset businesses. And then you have 1,500 instances where you have customer relationships or large projects or set of projects that you undertake. And if you view these as businesses, then one category belongs to asset businesses, the other, let's say, servicing the external customer. We told ourselves that we have to approach even a social problem with the same mindset. So we identified about 30 services that are oriented towards assets. So asset businesses are 30. And about 40 delivery.
Give us a couple of examples.
The example of a delivery module or business is attending to water problem or solving literacy problem, having diabetes issue addressed or hypertension being addressed, having livelihood programs around, let's say, BPO operations, so on and so forth. So we have adopted a principle which we call the 100% principle. What the 100% principle means is that in every service area, you identify what is ideal, you identify where you stand, and whatever be the gap, you tell yourself that in a matter of 2 to 3 years, in a metrics-driven fashion, in a process-driven way, you bridge the gap. So we moved from 50% literacy to 100% literacy in a matter of 2 to 3 years in these villages. These villages collectively have a population of 1 million people. And indirectly there are 2 million people from the neighboring villages who access these services. We moved from 50% of the houses having toilets to 100% of the houses having toilets. We moved from 4% of the people suffering from diabetes to all the people in this target group being identified and being treated at a cost which is no more than 25 to 50 cents per month per village. Not very high. And so on and so forth.
We have in a fixed price project, when you force yourself to get to the price point you have to get.
Yes, the principles are the same. We have to track thousands of metrics. I would, while agreeing that processes are important, it's a combination of processes and technology that has clearly made a difference. We have adopted 3 broad values. We said that number 1 is about involving people, which is also requiring us to address leadership issues.